This morning, we're joined by Logan Hickel from the Better Business Bureau of Washington. Thanks so much for being here with us.
Thanks for having me.
Well, Logan, it's getting warmer outside, better weather. People might be starting to think about some home projects. You always want to be a little bit careful when you are hiring somebody, especially if it's someone for the first time. So what should consumers keep in mind before reaching out to anybody for home improvements?
Yeah, so first of all, you should look to plan your project from start to finish. And part of that is finding pictures of what you're actually trying to achieve there. That way, when you talk to those contractors, they know actually what you want.
Okay.
But also part of that is figuring out your entire budget. And that includes things like if you're going to be doing a kitchen remodel, do you need to budget more money to eat out?
Right.
If you're going to be remodeling your bedrooms, do you need to budget a little bit more to stay in a hotel? So always have those extra expenses built in, especially when you're working on an older home. Now, also part of that is researching permits. You're going to talk to your contractor about this, okay? You should be talking to your contractor, or they should be talking to you about it more like, but you need to do your own research about what is actually required there. And then also, let's just research and gather as much information as possible. You can find a contractor's business profile over on BBB.org, but you should also search for that name of the company with things like scam, complaint, and review behind it to see what others are kind of saying out there. But also be prepared to ask these questions around are their employees or their subcontractors trained, certified, do they undergo background checks, and what ID, what identification are they going to show when they show up to your house every single day?
Okay, good reminders there. What are a few other tips consumers should do before they're going to go out to talk to these people? They're going to be engaging with multiple contractors, maybe trying to get different bids.
Yeah, so first of all, you want to ask for multiple quotes, right? Like you said, different bids. Here at the BBB, we suggest getting at least 3 quotes from different contractors. But when you're at home, please make sure these bids and these quotes compare the same set of criteria. That's really important. And remember that the lowest bid may not always be the best bid.
Right.
Either that contractor may be looking to cut corners, or honestly, in a lot of cases, they just don't really understand what you were trying to achieve in that space. Now, you also want to verify that license and insurance. That's very, very important before you sign any contracts. Here in the U.S., you can find that from the state's licensing bureau, and here in Washington, that's the Department of Labor and Industries. You can find that information on their website, but once you have that contractor's information, including insurance, call that insurance company. Okay. Make sure they have the proper coverage in place directly through the insurance company, but importantly, make sure that insurance is still active as well. And then lastly, get a receipt and arrange that payment schedule. That's incredibly important. Do not pay in full up front. You need to stagger those payments so that last payment is due after the work is complete and it's been fully inspected. Don't pay cash either. And if you're going to pay check, let's make sure that check's written out to a company and not an individual, or as we always suggest, pay by credit card if you can.
All right, always a good tip there. What can people do when they get on the website to make sure they're finding a reliable contractor?
Yeah, so people can head over to bbb.org to find business profiles on local contractors here in the community. You can check to see if they're accredited with us. That basically means that they're going to uphold our 8 standards of ethics, which is very important, and also respond to all complaints. Now, just because there's a complaint on a company, that doesn't mean that should disqualify them right away. Okay. What's really important here is how did they respond to that complaint? How did they take care of that consumer? That's what we want to look at. And on our website, you can find a whole hub of information on things like home remodeling, hiring a contractor, home inspectors, and many more at bbb.org/homehq.
All right, all important tips, especially when you're doing some of these home improvement projects. They're a lot of money. You're budgeting a lot for it, so it's better to do it the right way. And do it safely, protect your money, protect your investment.
Exactly. Just do your research, do your homework before you even sign any contracts.
Sounds good. All right, Logan Hickel with the BBB of Washington. Thanks so much for being with us.
Not a problem.